Hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel where stories and other random things take center stage. Welcome to today's video and Blind Woman Reviews, where today we'll be discussing, or I will be discussing and reviewing The Library of the Unwritten by J.Hackwith. This is the first book in a series called Hell's Library. And yeah, looking forward to discussing this with you. Let me tell you what it's about. In the first book in a brilliant new fantasy series, books that aren't finished by their authors reside in the Library of the Unwritten in Hell, and it is up to the librarian to track down any restless characters who emerge from those unfinished stories. Many years ago, Claire was named head librarian of the Unwritten Wing, a neutral space in hell where all the stories unfinished by their authors reside. Her job consists mainly of repairing and organizing books, but also of keeping an eye on restless stories that risk materializing as characters and escaping the library. When a hero escapes from his book and goes in search of his author, Claire must track and capture him with the help of former muse and current assistant Brevity and nervous demon courtier Leto. But what should have been a simple retrieval goes horrifyingly wrong when the terrifyingly angelic Ramiel attacks them, convinced that they hold the Devil's Bible. The text of the Devil's Bible is a powerful weapon in the power struggle between heaven and hell. So it falls to the librarians to find a book with the power to reshape the boundaries between heaven, hell, and earth. So, my thoughts. Honestly, this is a reread for me and I loved it. I did enjoy revisiting this thing. I felt like I went back to a really interesting place. I did enjoy it. I think it's a really good book. Not a 5-star book, but definitely a book I really liked. It just doesn't feel like 5 stars. I think I gave it 5 stars the first time I read it, but reading it now, it doesn't feel like um it doesn't feel like that kind of, I don't know, it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like a 5-star anymore now that I'm reading it. It feels kind of like a it feels kind of like a 4-star. So here we are. I think the writing and pacing were very good here. The writing style was interesting. It's not fully mixed media, but it kind of is. So the library has like this logbook where librarians write their like entries, and so do like assistant librarians or basically apprentice librarians, I'm sorry, also write like their entries. But basically in each chapter you get a different librarian's entry from basically many years ago. You get all of these different entries. Each chapter has one, and I like the fact that there's something like this, because you get the mixture of that while you also get whatever is happening in the story. I think it's actually kind of fun, and I highly enjoy it. So yeah. Anywho, so I did enjoy it. I think it's great. It's a fun and enjoyable story. So yes, it's amazing. The one thing I love about it is that it centers on the stories. The stories do take center stage here, and it feels good because I don't read many stories revolving around books. So I like that this one does revolve around books and that it's a pretty big deal for the people who for the libraries. You know, I like that if it regards around stories, and it's like an interesting, it feels like kind of like a love letter to the books that aren't finished, because it kind of shows that they're still there. I personally really enjoyed this because I am working on a really big fantasy project. I myself am writing a a book. I'm writing a fantasy book, and that is currently titled The Traveler's Curse. And I'm having a lot of fun writing this book. I'm like in chapter 53. So I feel like though I haven't finished it and I'm writing slash editing, it feels good to, I don't know, to have something that says, you know, even if you didn't finish your book, there's still a story there. I mean, there's like a science fiction book, science fiction slash fantasy, because it's a mix of both, that I kind of want to write, and I'm like in chapter 3 and I haven't finished, but there's still a story, and it's a story I still like. And a story I'm hoping to eventually, eventually finish. And I find that this book kind of gives me that feeling like, okay, it's not finished, but there's still a story. There's still something for you to write. There is still a really big thing for you to write. And I feel like that's a great feeling when you have something like that. And I don't know, it's a really good, it's a message kind of love for the stories, even if they're unfinished, and I appreciate it. So I definitely enjoyed it, because I think it's a love story to these stories, and I like it. As a reader, I found myself really into it. So yeah. Also, I like the exploration of afterlife and how there are many different afterlives, I guess, because everyone has like a different religion, even the empty ones. There's still a different kind of afterlife everywhere. And because of that, I kind of like the exploration and the fact that they live in the same place, and they kind of like coexist together, because there are so many different religions. You have Valhalla, you have like the stuff for ancient Egypt, you have a bunch of different religions that kind of work out in a lot of different places. So I like the fact that they kind of coexist in this universe. It's kind of interesting and exciting. I do want, the one thing I think I took a star for is, although there's really interesting world building, I would have definitely liked more, because there is a hint of politics, especially by the end, and the fact that there is a court, and I would have liked more information, that maybe more world building. There's like a hint on that, and it would have been interesting to see the world building here. So that's my review. I'll see you tomorrow again in my next video. My next review will be on A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. It's a book I picked up very recently, and I have a story on that, so I'll tell you the story in the review. But let me know your thoughts on the Library of the Unwritten in the comments section. And thank you for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so that you're aware the moment I release videos. And I will see you in my next video. But until then, everyone, consume stories.